Okay, good evening, everybody. What is today? Wednesday, February 21st, 2018. Pretty active day today, and I actually tweeted that I was going to show a different sequence than what I'm showing here. We had a death cross in the afternoon. I think I'll go back and actually publish that one as well. But I'm just actually finishing up a sequence here. It's a little after 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and you can see based on the clock here, this took place about half an hour ago. And I thought it was interesting. What I'm trying to do here is not just show all the great trades. And this is somewhat of an average trade to minimal trade, but I wanted to walk you through my thought process. So this is probably going to take about a half an hour to run out. I'll see if I can compress it a little bit here, but just bear with me. So the idea here is we lost support at 2690. Okay, and just a reminder, I'm doing a voice narration after the fact. So what I'm doing is I'm watching this as you folks are and narrating to it. So I'm looking to get short anywhere in the 88 to 90 range. Okay, and I'm not a big volume profile guy, but I thought you folks that do follow volume profile that this might be intriguing in terms of how I do use it. It's really just a redundant premise. It's a converging indicator along with just your simple price break at 2690. I actually was trying to position short for that before that break, by the way, but I was trading the Nikkei instead. So I'm trying to react to this, and so I'm trying to get short anywhere 88 to 90. And based on, you can see what's called a low volume node on the volume profile to the left. Quite the cliff at 90 and then just a catapult south. So I'm trying to get short up there anyway. So you can kind of see what I'm doing. I'm maneuvering around. And what you're going to see here is interesting because there's a lot of noise. Okay. And as I'm watching this, I'm concerned that we've got a pretty thin market. This thing actually can shoot up through that low volume node and get back above 90 probably pretty easily. You can see I'm circling that because I'm looking at it. But I've got to trust it until it breaks, and I've got to trust the 2690 prior support equal resistance. So I have to respect that. That's the tub, trust until broken, right? But the one concern I have here is you can see I'm trying to get short another 10. I'm already short 20, and this will get me short 30. Right, I'm concerned about delta. So top screen, right, top right chart, the delta, the buying pressure right now is on the upside into a low volume node, and so that caused me pause for concern, if you will. I still want to stay with it as long as the premise is valid, but you're going to see I'm going to dance around this a little bit because I'm bothered. I am bothered by the delta. Okay, the P&L is interesting. Again, don't get hung up on that at all. If this thing were to trade up above 90, I'm out of there. Okay, and you can see I'm kind of toying with. I've got my mouse hovering up top there. I don't have an official stop order in, but I'm ready to hit it at any time. And minimal damage for me if it does. It'll be a few thousand, worth the risk. The better trade actually, and I got a little bit of it, but I was not heavy enough, was the first reaction back up just before 8:40 p.m. 2040. You can see it, especially in the 1 minute chart. I didn't get size on that because I was, futzing around. Okay, so, but I'm going to trust it until it breaks. So I'm going to take another shot at it. Okay, so what am I short now? Am I short 40, 45, right? And the idea is to short in the upper 80s and cover in the mid to lower 80s, right? Because that's the idea. You're going for, the jellies will know you're going for an exit back toward the prior swing point, which would be in the low 80s. Volume profiles, what are you doing? You're trading from the top tier, top taper to the bottom taper, right? So you've got so many premises here at 26.90, but delta is bothersome. So right now, delta is not on my side on the short, and I'm kind of at the point I'm scratching my head a little bit. I'm wondering why the hell is that. In fact, you can see now the market's starting to retrace, starting to go in my direction, right? And you can see I'm putting buy orders in below, and we'll just see how this plays out. It gets fascinating in about 5 or 10 minutes, so just bear with me. I'll find some stuff to talk about as this thing fills in. Today I thought was really interesting because we had tremendous move to the upside in the morning, and then when the FOMC minutes came up, we had a further surge to the upside, and I got pieces of both of those, and I was actually kicking myself for not being long heavier into FOMC, and especially after that first mini reaction down before it just catapulted to the north. Right now, you can kind of see that on the two middle charts, the 60 and the 15 minute, where that thing just shot up after the announcement. And then though it pulled back towards support, and then it just didn't turn. And I was long on that retracement, and I stopped out when it crossed down. And then you get this death cross in the I think it's the mid to high 20s. I think the 28 to 30 was the short zone, and I got some of that. But that was kind of crazy. So I'll try to capture that. Well, I've captured it. I'll try to go ahead and publish it one of these days. When I have some time. But this one I thought was intriguing. So again, right now, Delta's still up. I love that Delta screen. Of all the changes I've made to my trading over the years, and I've made very, very few, that is one, and it's really replaced three-line break for me because it actually shows buying power or selling power, who's the aggressor. And my programmer did such a great job on doing the background for me, and it's a 3-minute tight Tilson moving average. And when that price is above that moving average, you've got a green background. When it's below, you've got red. So it's just really, really solid. I love that visual. Okay. But again, as we're watching this, it's going to take a little while to play out here. I'm wondering why it's not dropping sooner, but I see deltas on the upswing, so that makes some sense. Again, the first retracement short was actually the best that usually is, the first reaction up. So today was a little bit of Jack be nimble after FOMC. You could not get married to a position. I think I was up. I didn't have a home run day. I think I was up like 8,000 or 9,000 after FOMC, and I should have been up a lot more. And then by the time I got in pretty heavy on the retracement, and what I didn't do though, I didn't get the confirm to the north, so I was in on a fade, and once that thing started tanking, the minute it started moving back up, I bailed on it. Probably lost about 2,000-3,000 on the trade before I could position back short on the death cross and get basically what I scratched out of there. Okay, so let's go back to the sequence though. All right, I'm probably going to confuse the heck out of you. So stay with me. What's happening here? Delta's still on the upswing. It's right up against that low volume node, right? It's right up there. So I've got my mouse in the dome, and this is where you can certainly automate it. So I'm in and out a little bit. If it's pausing, I'm back in. If it's going against me, delta's against me. I'm scratching. I'm lightening. I'm getting heavier. I really don't want to be any heavier tonight than 45. It's a little bit thin, and the Nikkei was kind of doing some weird stuff too. I tweeted that you don't see it here, but just a very thin extension on the short that you had to have exits in ahead of time, and I was trading with my B game on that and not my A game, so I only got half the cover, right? So I'm a little bit scared, as they say, on this one. So again, though, I've got my premise intact. It looks like here it's backing off a bit, backing off of 90. I feel pretty good, right? I don't like delta, but I'm expecting that delta to turn one of these days, right? All right, so here I'm going short further. Right now I got short 45. I got my confirmation on a little bit of a backing off. You get divergences on your MACD. If you look at price, the 1-minute chart price versus the momentum, you're looking pretty good there. I'm still concerned about delta. So I'm going to lighten my load, right, on the way down. Ideally, I'm looking for a move back toward the low to mid 80s. Again, volume profilers, taper to taper, taper to taper, right? So I'm starting to lighten here. You can see I'm kind of just hovering over there, and so I bail. I really want to get back to getting my account funded with Future Path and Photon. So this is TOS, Thinkorswim with TD Ameritrade. Obviously, the platform sucks, but there's reasons that I have my capital there for now, and just want to probably do some redistribution shortly. Right. Okay, so I took off 15, take off the edge a little bit. I'm circling what I'm looking at, right? Delta I don't like. I like my bar at 2690. I like volume profile. All good. All good. But why the hell is Delta green? Right? I don't get it. I don't get it here. Right? You've got aggressors on the buys up here. You've got aggressors. And this is where that chart can be really, really helpful. If you're getting shaken on the bar charts, and ES is just, especially during RTH, it's just doing that like crazy, right? Delta can really, really help. If you only shorted when Delta was red and only went long when Delta is green, it's impossible to lose a lot of money, and it's almost impossible. I was telling someone the other day, it's almost impossible not to make money. Right. So I'm expecting that this thing's just going to, come back down, right? So I got my buys in right ahead of time in the 85s, 84s, right? Still short 20. I'm putting a stop up north, right? So now I am going mechanical, right? So what's happening? Again, like I said, it's going to take a while to play out, but I think it's going to be worthwhile in the long run. While we're waiting, again, thank you for all of the feedback on these. What I'm finding is that this is helping tighten my game up, and it's kind of cheesy in a way because I'm when I'm focused, because I still am not 100% focused during the RTH session, but I am during ETH. And I'm kind of in this mode where, boy, what can I record, right? What can I record ahead of time? So it's making me pay more attention and be sharper. I think. I'm still not where I want to be. Okay. So look at Delta here. Delta is black bars, right? But it's got to have a close on a trend turn. Right, so I'm magnifying my 1 minute. Want to get a better hand. See, I'm circling that. I see. It looks like it's starting to turn, but it hasn't turned. Right. So carry that information forward, as James Dalton would say. Right. Carry that information forward. Now, what do I do here? Do I get out of the rest? No, I'm expecting a move down, so I'm trying to really take it into the 85s, 84s. Right. Let's see what happens here. I don't think actually I'm able to cover here, if I recall the sequence. Right. I guess I am. I have a little bit. Right. Notice the dome to the right is blank. That's where I had the Nikkei when I was trading the Nikkei tonight. And if I'm not trading it, I just blank the dome out, so I'm not paying any attention to it. Right. So right now, this looks like a pretty decent sequence, right? Low volume node 89. And again, I'm circling. See what I'm circling my cursor there? I'm circling the target for my final exits. Right. So, all looks pretty cool, except I'm still scratching my head over Delta, right? Right. This is one of the few times where, it really, and it's probably because it's so thin, but you've had a move down of about 3 points in ES, right? And there's not a whole lot of selling pressure, right? And I know I'm looking at this with a bit of a magnifying glass, but I want to prove a point here, because when the market's moving more quickly, or if you're in the RT8 session, this information can come in real handy, right? So look what it's doing now. Price is moving back up. Again, we've got a thin market, but the principle is the same. I'm not seeing the selling pressure there that will get me down to the 85s. Right? And so, what's the risk here? Well, the risk is that this thing starts to just air pocket back up because, again, you don't have aggressors on the sell side. You don't have aggressors on the sell side. And you can see how thin the book is right now, right? So this gets interesting now, right? Because now finally you've got a 3-minute trend turn, right? Attempt anyway, right? Has that closed? I don't think it's closed yet, that period. And price is moving up, right? So, and I know some of you folks were suggesting that I talk about how I manage risk with size a bit. And again, this is far from a perfect sequence, but you can kind of see how I dance in and out, So I'm circling all these things again because I'm expecting this thing actually right now to plummet, because I got delta that's turning, right? Little right shoulder, looking on a 1-minute chart, looking for the right shoulder, right? But now I'm wondering, okay, what the hell's going on? Price is going up, It's thin. So, delta's not, though, right? We're getting back up to the low volume node. Look at your volume profile chart. 89, 50 coming up. So what do? So if you want to pause it, I would suggest you pause the video right here. I'm not going to pause it, but pause the video right here and let me know how you would now trade this, right? So pause the video and look around. How would you trade this now? Right? Will you trust until it breaks still? Will you just bag it because you've been fed up and you've just violated the right shoulder or lower shoulder in the 1 minute? How would you trade it? I think I end up bailing on the whole thing here, do I? Do I finally close that position? You can see I'm thinking about it, right? So what I did here, if you're back with me, right? I scratched because there's a risk that this thing's going to shoot up, and get you back above 90. Kind of looks that way, doesn't it? It feels that way. You've got a lot of air to the north still. But I don't give up very easily, right? So I'm flat here, and basically I am, because I remember this. It's only half an hour ago, right? I'm reassessing. Now, some people may look at that as a 1-minute cup and take a long on the way down to 88, but I'm looking at a couple of things. My low volume node is still intact despite the wiggle, and my delta is now turned south. My delta is on the sell side. It's giving me enough evidence, despite what price is doing. My cum delta is telling me that I've got a premise there that's still intact, despite the fact that this thing just climbed 3.5 points, right? Now, what did I do? I covered at 89.50. 89.50. I scratched it, right? And this is where anybody trading ES, that it does this, right? Whether it's the algos or whatever, it'll drive you insane, right? These turns are different than they used to be, but you have to have more perseverance, right? So this thing's now coming down 2 points off of where I scratched it, right? So what am I trying to do? I'm trying to get back in. All right, I've got delta, which is red. I've got low volume nodes still intact. I've got and I'm a bit aggravated, right? Right now. So, but all I can do is take it one more time, right? All I can do is take it one more time if I get a decent price. I don't want to chase. So you see, I can short 89 or so. And I want to start scaling in something here. So I'm looking at, 88 to 89-ish, getting short, and then a stop above 90, for really the last sequence of the night. Shanghai's open now. Well, it's been open for a bit. The Asian markets can create certainly some noise. And again, I'll say it again, the first retracement short was the best. And now I figured I'd go back and put my my VWAP on. Do I have a VWAP premise? I don't always have that on. I should have. I usually do after hours, and I didn't on this particular worksheet. So I've got low volume node. I've got 2690 price premise, and I've got VWAP on my side. Okay, and I thought this would be interesting to show again because of the noise in the 1 minute chart. I know a lot of you folks don't use a 1 minute chart. I do as a turn signal, and in this case it actually just provides a good magnifying glass because you got 3-4 point ranges there, and when you're scalping, 3 or 4 points can pay the bills or cost some tuition, college tuition if you will. So again, just focusing on the premise. I will occasionally go to a line chart or I have a stair step chart, which is like a line chart because it prints at the close. That I'll show sometimes, and that will eliminate a lot of this noise. Okay. So again, I'm trying to get in without chasing. Okay, and I figure that I can still get covers back in the low 86s and 85s, and you can see where I've got them all down there. Get a lot of air pockets in this market, so I'm thinking again that we'll get one of those. Okay, and here we go. Price climbing. I think shortly I will go ahead and put the. I'll actually put some stops in. Right. I feel good about Delta. Now look at this, 74 on the bid. Did you see that 74 on the bid? I'll short it. Of course I'll short it. Right? Don't pay any attention to sizes. They are playing games like crazy. On one of the recent videos, I showed you one where it was a spoof, an illegal spoof, and just wait for it to drop. Sometimes I'll hit them. Right? Okay, so now what's happening here? Right? Delta's flip-flopping around a little bit, right? So at this point, I think I'm going to start putting my stops. We'll see exactly when they go in. I know they go in eventually, right? But now I've got a little bit of right shoulder again on 1 minute. So as long as we don't really blow back up all the way to 90, I feel pretty good about this. And again, I get VWAP, I got low volume node, and I got the 90 price there. And I also have, by the way, the algo center down below is pretty much all red except for a couple of the shorter term intervals are yellow. Keep in mind, you go from short interval to long interval, top to bottom, and that's not a surprise given the action here. Okay, so what I'm waiting for basically is for traders to get frustrated. And it's the frustrated traders. Once they give up, then the market's typically gonna do what you expected it to do in the first place. So we'll watch this in the background here. So Delta has now turned red. Right. It did not stay green because it did not close. And one of the things I've got my signal set on is it will stay a solid color once the period closes, but I will get flashes of a reversal if in fact it's in progress and trying to turn. I just pay attention to whether it sticks or not. All right. So Delta down, price down. Now we get some possibility. I don't know if we're going to get an air pocket down, but I'm feeling better about this, right? Circling Delta like that. I'm circling my target on the lower taper on volume profile. And I'm feeling pretty good that I'll get hit on those orders, and if I don't get hit and it pauses, you'll see I'll start adjusting. I want to lighten a little bit here because we are thin. This first one at 86 and a quarter, I think might have been a bit early because I think that'll actually get hit. But look how thin we are. If you're scared of thin markets, I would encourage you just cut your sizes down. Just know that if you're on the right side, the person on the other side of your trade is always going to be on the wrong side, right? And they're going to have to take action, and it's going to drive the market more. So I love thin markets, I really do. So I took some off at 6 and a quarter there, right? Delta good, everything's looking good here, right? And now it's a matter of how do I close the trade off. Right, I'm not going to hold all the way. I don't think we'll go all the way down to 82, 83. right? So I'm just trying to make as much as I can, given the fact that I had to scratch it, and the scratch cost me some insurance dollars, right? So you can see we're coming down here. I'm buying on the bid, providing liquidity and exiting my positions, and if I don't get hit, I'll adjust it. What else can I say here? So you'll see. Basically, this will fill. These will all fill in the 85s and 86s now coming out. The buying in the bid and selling on the ask, typically only in Globex, only in thin markets. RTH, it's all right, but it's so thick that well, not thick these days, but often it's so thick that you just want to go to market. But today was a good example during FOMC minutes release where you had some air pockets. The Nikkei was a great example tonight. If you look at that chart again of an air pocket down, where you had to have that in there, exit in there ahead of time. Okay. So again, as you're watching this play out, I'm hoping that this provides a little bit of understanding in terms of how I use size to manage, how I use delta in terms of trying to sort through the muck. Because when you look at the two charts, even the five, that's a 5-minute chart, the middle chart, but look how ugly and messy that gets. Look how really ugly the 1-minute chart gets, but look how clean delta is, right? And all these other indicators, it's so great at taking out the noise. So, my suggestion to you and to myself is just stay focused, know your premise, find the tools. I've often said you don't need 3 measuring devices. Find a ruler or a tape measure or a yardstick, and find one that fits your personality. If you want to go with multiple indicators, I add volume profile to that too, low volume nodes. Then you're looking at in this case three indicators, right? That are all saying the same thing. So I am, in this case, using a tape measure, yardstick, and ruler, because I guess I want a little bit more confirmation. But pick something that you're comfortable with. Pick something that you're comfortable with, and then have your exits in. Always have your exits in ahead of time, right? Especially in thin markets. Okay. So relatively fascinating day. Still going to up my game a bit. I'm sloppy. I was not up at my trading desk at 6:30 in the morning today, which really killed me because of the nice turn. You can see how clean that was. Go back and look at your charts. 7 a.m. Eastern time. Okay, so here we go. Closing out the trade. Again, I'm not thinking we're going to get all the way down to the taper, and there's very low action at 82, 83. Not much was traded there. You're on a MATC, which is morning after trend close. So what are we typically looking for? We're looking for oscillations around new price levels after a closing trend, and we happen to be oscillating around 86. In this lower area. So you can basically see that I'm trying to buy here at 475 to close the position, right? Again, just circling what I'm looking at, and I think I just leave that there, and he gets hit, right? So again, not a home run trade, but hopefully a little bit of principle in terms of here I'm splitting the 5 into 3 and 2, right? In terms of some of the stuff that I look at, and there's so many great experts out there in volume profile. James Dalton and all the good work that he does. Shadow Trader Peter, and does a lot of good stuff there. Norton Morad, the FT71, does some really good stuff. As much as I'm not a believer in hypos, it tends to work for him. But I believe you trade what you see. Have a plan, though. I think it's great in terms of prep work. I really do. and he does a great service for the industry. So I'm not dissing it by any stretch. I really respect what he does. But I don't do that because I want to trade what the market is actually doing, and not getting any preconceived notions. If you do have a preconceived notion, just make sure you're getting confirmation with your various signals. Right. Whatever works, folks. We all have a blank canvas. It's how we paint the pictures. So thanks to everybody who contributes. All the guys I mentioned, Nirav, doing some great stuff. There are going to be times when we're on our games. There are going to be times when we're not on our games. Just maximize it when you're on your game. Make a little, lose a little, make a little, make a lot. That's what it's all about. Have a great night. I hope you found this helpful. I know I chatted a bit, but I wanted to walk this through with you, and we'll do some others soon. Take care. Bye.